Hello everyone, my name's Dakota Stoner. So, for the first video in this series, or whatever you want to call it, is going to be for my second project. The first project I am still working on to finish and all that, so yeah, that's fine. But, so, for the second project, project 2, we are going to be covering data loaded from JSON, data of assets loaded from resource folders, use of interfaces, use of namespaces, and use of getters/setters. 1 second. Okay, should be good. Alright, so, first off, first thing we're going to be covering is the saver. So, let's turn off that. So, the saver, which we have set up onto just a game object, so let's hop in there. So, with the saver, we got a public class. So on it, I have it's a basically a game manager right now. That's for other reasons, but we have it to where there's the player that it finds, and then the stats, which calls on the secondary class in the system. So, and then lastly, we have another variable, private string, game data project file path, which is where our um, text document will be. So, like, if you go into resources, there's data, which contains everything about the player that is set and saving and loading. So, firstly, let's go down to saving. So, I have just two hotkeys set up to show in a little bit, but when the save game data is called, it will set all of these variables down here to whatever is on the player. And then after it sets all of them, it converts all of the stats and all the stats in the class to JSON and sets it as a string. And then from there, it'll set the file path to what we have to, so we can save it to the text document data. And then from there, it will write all text to the file path and data as JSON, which has been set to the string. So after that, when you're loading, you'll set the file path from the variable that's up top plus the data path, application.data path, so we can find it to load from. So if the file exists, which it does in this case, you will set it'll read from the file path and set everything as a string. Then from there, it will read from JSON, the data as JSON, and set everything in the stats down here to what they equal to, and then it'll set all the variables on the player to what is equal to what is in the stats class. So, to show it off, we have the player, which if you hit E to save and then run around and you hit Y, those are the correct hotkeys, right? Yeah. Yeah, so if you go to, what's that, player, and you level up, so I am now level 3, and I can upgrade my health and stamina and all that. So everything went up, and if I press E to save, 1 second. Oh, yeah. Terribly sorry about that. Yeah, so everything is updated when you save. So like I did a moment ago, so let's go ahead and level up. And then when you update the stats, and you save, everything will have updated, player position, all of that. So if you move around, you hit Y, it will load back. So if we take it to where load game on data, uncomment that, so it will load on start. Hold on, alright. So when the game starts, it will load, and everything will be set back to where it was. So that's first thing down. Don't save. Go and close that out. Okay, so for the rest of them, the next one we are going to be hitting is use of interfaces. So we have a couple of different interfaces here. We have the inventory item, which contains a string, which is the item name as a property, and an image, which will be used to set the image on the inventory when you open it up, so you can have a little more visuals. The weapon, which is put onto anything that can deal damage, will have a float damage done, and it will be able to set what each weapon does. The damageable, which will be on anything that is killable and able to take damage. Yeah, okay, yeah. And then they will have a function take damage. So let's go to weapon. So weapon has the interface, weapon interface. So it has a public float damage. So I'm still updating this a little bit, but when the weapon is actually equipable and you're able to attack with it, it will do the damage done when you hit somebody with it, and they have the damageable interface on them. The damageable player controller should have it. No, it doesn't. I haven't hooked it up. But the thing about the interfaces is they are meant to be like contracts. So everything can have the exact same damage done variable, or let me close that, or void take damage. So you don't have to have multiple functions doing the exact same thing. You can have one function on each of them doing the same thing. Yeah, so there's that. So next thing is namespaces. I did something fairly simple with this. There's a public class health component, which is right here, and it has a namespace health script. So the thing about namespaces is, the way it was described to me, is it is a container. You can wrap a public class in a namespace, and then you can have multiple. You can have another script named the same thing, as long as it's on the same folder. So if you would like make packages of your scripts and all of that, it won't have a conflict with other people's scripts. To prove that, there's another health component, same public class name, amount of behavior and all of that, health component. The only difference is they are in two different folders. And then lastly, properties. So properties are great because you have, in my health component I have oh wait, one sec, let me finish namespaces real quick. So the thing about namespaces as well is you can up at the top, you can call using whatever the name of your namespace is, so using health script. Then you can call on them health script.healthComponentHC, and then you can use HC, one sec. Then you can use HC, wow, throughout the rest of the code wherever you need it. Alright, so back on to other things. So properties are great. So in my health component, I'm using a property for my health. So on it, it's public float health. So when it's called, it gets the health. It returns the health, whatever it is set to. Now when it takes damage, it will set the health to whatever it is, and then in the set, if the health is less than 0, it'll mark it dead, all of that, etc. So oh, there's my damage. We'll get off track. So in the player controller, when calling it, I have it to where it's just K it takes damage. I can call health component dot health minus equals 5. So it will set the health to -5 of what it was. So if the health is 100, it will then be 95. And then if it takes damage again, it will be 90, and so on and so forth. One other thing is inheritance. So I don't have a whole bunch with inheritance right now. I'm still working on it. But right now I have a interactable script which has an public virtual void interact, which just does nothing right now. And then it has other things that just help interact with in-game. And then it has the iInventory item, so it has the variables from iInventory. It has the player and different bulls and all of that. So on the weapon, it inherits from iInteractable. So it gets everything that was in that, and as well as inside it, I can then call a public override void interact, which then it takes the virtual void, whatever's there, and I can override it to do something else that I want it to do, which I can add it to the inventory and destroy the game object, so I don't have to have multiple. So it's not just an interact on the interactable. It's just one solid thing. It can be a little different across anything that is inherited from interactable, and it won't affect other weapons or scripts or anything. So that is all for now, and thank you for watching.